Thanks for making some time this afternoon to join us for some information about the ELCIC Day of Action. Great to see some familiar faces and names. All right. Well, thank you for being with us this afternoon. My name is Trina Gallup-Blank. I am the Assistant to the National Bishop for Communications and Resource Generation at the National Office. I am joined here today by a few of my communication colleagues, and I'll get them to just give a little wave as I say their name. Catherine Crevici, our graphic designer, Desiree Mendoza, office manager and meeting and communications coordinator, and Carter Brooks, our communications specialist. We don't want to take up too much of your time this afternoon, but we do want to make sure that you have all the information that you need to get your congregation for May 31st. So our hope for our 45 minutes this afternoon is very simple. We hope that by the end of this session, you'll have a clear sense of what the ELCIC Day of Action is all about, why we're doing it, and how you and your community can take part in a way that is feeling meaningful and doable. So I'm going to share a slide. There we go. So why are we doing this? This year, 2026, the ELCIC is marking 40 years as the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Canada. So it's our 40th anniversary. And we have lots of exciting things planned for this year. We are going to be sharing stories about mission and ministry over the last 40 years. We're going to have a ELCIC National Worship event in October. More information on that to come. We've got a special anniversary issue of Canada Lutheran planned for September. And one of the main pillars of our 40th anniversary is going to be the ELCIC Day of Action, taking place on May 31st. We're going to be marking 40 years in the life of ministry and witness in our church, and this anniversary invites us not only to remember where we have been, but to discern who we are now and how God is calling us forward to the next 40 years. Our mission statement states that as an expression of the universal church and as an instrument of the Holy Spirit, our mission is to share the gospel of Jesus Christ with people in Canada and around the world through proclamation of the word, celebration of the sacraments, and through service in Christ's name. And so at the heart of this ELCIC Day of Action initiative is something that is deeply rooted in who we are as a church, service in Christ's name. And of course, we also want to express our new tagline, living out God's grace and unconditional love. And the ELCIC Day of Action is a tangible way to do exactly that. We see the ELCIC Day of Action as an opportunity for us to step beyond our walls and be present in our communities, not just in words, but in our actions, to listen, to serve, to build relationships, and to be visible signs of hope and care in the places we are called to be. And we want to stress that the ELCIC Day of Action isn't about doing something big or impressive, but it's really about doing something meaningful and intentional, and about doing it together on May 31st. So on May 31st, we are inviting congregations and communities across the country to engage in acts of service and connection as an expression of faith in action in their local context. And again, doing this all on the same day. And it's important to note that this is not a one-size-fits-all model. Every community is different. Every context is different. And so we see the ELCIC Day of Action as something that is flexible and something that can take shape in a way that reflects your local relationships the needs of your community and the gifts within your congregation. So essentially, we're asking you to do four things. We want you to think about where God is already at work in your community. Where is your congregation being called to serve in your community? Perhaps this is something that you're doing already, or it could be something new, or it could be something that you've been wanting to do for a while. And then consider getting together a small little planning group to help you pull this together. And for the pastors that are joining us this afternoon, we want to stress that this isn't something that you need to do alone. Make a plan. There are absolutely people within your congregation, I think, who would have a passion for organizing the ELCIC Day of Action. And think about how your congregation wants to answer this call to serve. And think about what is possible by May 31st. Again, stressing that this doesn't have to be something big or impressive. It really is just about coming together and living out that call to do service in Christ's name. And then, of course, on May 31st, participate, step out, and engage with your community. And then we're going to ask you to tell the story of what happened. So we're going to go through some resources shortly that have been developed by the National Office, but we are hoping that you'll be able to identify somebody within your little planning team who might be able to take some photos and tell some stories about how your congregation is getting involved in the ELCIC Day of Action. Thinking a little bit about who can participate and who we're calling into the ELCIC Day of Action. Obviously, one of the beautiful things about this initiative is about how open it is. And so participation can include congregations of any size, small groups or ministry teams, youth and children, individuals, partner organizations or community groups. We would love for you to connect with Anglicans, Moravians, and other denominations in your community. We know that some synod offices are getting involved. We've been talking at the national office about how we can get involved and what we'll be doing for the ELCIC Day of Action. Camps, seminaries, really, whether you're a large congregation with many resources or a small group with a simple idea, there is space in the ELCIC Day of Action for you. We've had a lot of questions about what should we be doing for the ELCIC Day of Action. And again, we'll have some time at the end of this for questions that you might have, but also just to share a little bit about what you might be thinking about doing, and to hear about what others are doing. And some of the other information sessions that we've been having, that's been a really helpful part of the information session, is just to share a little bit about what you're thinking of and what participation might look like in the ELCIC Day of Action. Because from what we're hearing, it sounds like a lot of people are still kind of sorting through what this could mean to you and your congregation and community. But some ideas, just to throw them out there, might be hosting or supporting a community meal, organizing a neighborhood cleanup, visiting seniors or those who are isolated, partnering with a local organization or school. It could be a prayer walk through your community, a youth-led service project. We've even heard of a congregation who is simply going to just bring some coffee and lemonade out into the front of their church and invite the community to join them for a bit of a coffee hour outside on their church lawn on May 31st. So these are all just starting points, but often the best ideas come from paying attention to what's already happening in your community and just asking how you might join in. We want to spend some time going through some of the resources that have been created to help you with the ELCIC Day of Action. And so I am going to ask Carter to start us off by sharing with you a little bit about the website and kind of where everything is gathered for the ELCIC Day of Action. Carter, over to you.
Thank you. I'll do that. Excellent. I will bring up my screen here and everyone will be able to see what I'm got on here. Okay, how does that look? Thumbs up if you can see my screen. Perfect. So what you are seeing here is our main ELCIC website homepage. I'm sure you've all seen it quite often. If not, go visit it a few more times. We bring you up to speed on our news and what's going on in our daily work just here at the main area of our website at the top. So if you want to find information on the ELCIC Day of Action, there are a few ways to do so. You can simply type into the URL bar, elcic.ca/day of action, or you can go to our main website page, elcic.ca, and find information on the ELCIC Day of Action through our rotating banner at the top. So you'll see it's right now in the ELCIC Sermon Series, another great resource. Or here we rotate through and it's already on the Day of Action. You can click on this information tab here. It'll take you to the page. Or you can scroll down on the website. You can find it down here, Day of Action. Or if you really want to get like a little excited, you can go over to this our work area, scroll down, ELCIC Day of Action. So there's a sufficient number of ways to find information on this. Once you come to the ELCIC Day of Action website, you shall find a page that looks like this. So our main homepage for our Day of Action, a bit of an introduction at the start here where we talk just a little bit about what this is, most of the things that Trina indicated already. If you scroll a bit lower, you will see these colorful buttons. Each of these buttons does something. I'm not going to spoil them for you, so it's up to you if you want to try test them out. Pretty straightforward what they do, but you can figure it out on your own time if you want to get some more information. One of them is the toolkit, of course, which will be touched on later. Same with t-shirts, which we will talk about. The first one here is going to give you an option to let us know what you are doing within your church, what you're doing as a congregation, what you're doing as a ministry area, as an individual, whatever it might be. So there's no reason to hide and say, oh, I don't know, we'll think about it later. If you got an idea, let your council know, your church know. When they have that straightforward, send that over to us and we will put you down here on our interactive activity map. So when you submit what your church is doing, you will see a little pinpoint pop up on this map. Okay, we don't see any over here, over here. Oh, yeah, here's one over here, and here's one down here. So you can see congregations in Manitoba and North, and it looks like Eastern Synod. So MNO and Eastern Synod have submitted information as to what they are doing. Over here, Erickson Lutheran Church. Over here, Zion Phillipsburg Evangelical Lutheran Church. When you hover over these map dots, you'll see a little bit of a breakdown as to what that congregation is doing. So this one over here is a community garbage cleanup. This one over here is a barbecue and an open house. Again, this information comes by email. It can be submitted to each of us staff members. However you want to get this to us, we ask up here just to submit this activity information. It'll open up your email and you can send an email to the appropriate email address that's listed there. So this is a way of kind of showing what we're doing across the map, figuratively and literally, while also giving you ideas possibly as to what you might want to do if your congregation cannot think of something. I'm sure you all can, but if for some reason you're stumped, by all means, check out what everybody else is doing. Right now, we're still early in the planning stages, but as this progresses, I anticipate seeing a lot of map dots pop up in these open areas. So that means get your points in. Let's go. Come on, people. Give us what you're doing. Next up, our video. We spent some time putting together a little bit of a preparation video so you kind of get to understand what this is about. Our bishops, our national and synod bishops, they chimed in, they gave you their thoughts. It's a good little 3.5-minute blurb on what is going on. It's exciting. There's some fun parts to it. You will get to see those as you progress through the video if you haven't seen it already. On YouTube by clicking here, or you can click above and it'll take you to the box folder where you can download this file and you can play it at your house, at your church, however it might be if you don't have internet access and you want to save it for a presentation, whatever it may be in your context. As we scroll down, there's an area called frequently asked questions. There's a number of questions here that may be of interest to you. I'll pause it on this area so you can read through it. If not, you can do so later. I'm not going to read them all out for you, but very simple pieces that may be a question in your mind. As we scroll further, you'll see some other suggestions, as Trina mentioned. So, a few different categories. What you may do as a church, as a congregation, as an individual, as a group of people, as some friends, whatever it may be, family, serving your neighbors, that's a heading, a few different options there. Supporting those in need, caring for creation, building community connections, acts of kindness and presence. So again, a host of information as to what you might want to do. And if you have any more interest in figuring out what your congregation wants to do, please talk about it. And when you have a decision made, when your church knows, when your pastor knows, whoever you may be, let us know. At that point, we can add you to this map that's slowly starting to fill up. At this point, I'm going to turn things over to my colleague Desiree, who will walk us through our special toolkit.
Thank you so much, Carter.
Welcome.
I just want to go through the toolkit with you all. So you might have this question, what is the toolkit about? So our ELCC Day of Action toolkit is made available just for you. Now, this toolkit is really meant to be a simple, practical guide to help congregations like yourselves to take part in the ELCC Day of Action. Now, this toolkit pulls together both inspiration and clear steps so that participating congregations don't have to figure everything out on their own. Now, it's there to support and encourage you as you plan acts of service in your own respective communities. Now, there are 3 parts that I would like to highlight from this very valuable resource. The first part is the letter from our national bishop. It sets the tone for the whole initiative and reminds us that the ELCIC Day of Action is part of the 40th anniversary as the ELCIC. It's really an invitation to live out our faith beyond the church walls, to show God's love through acts of service, compassion, and care, and very real and local ways. Now, the second part that we would like to highlight from this toolkit is sharing and connecting online. So this is basically joining the conversation. So it invites you to share what we are doing respectively and as a whole, and also inviting you to connect with us by using the hashtags ELCC Day of Action and also my ELCIC, as what you can see here on the screen. And of course, we invite you to connect with us by tagging us on our social media accounts, whether that would be on Facebook, Instagram, and even on X. Now, by doing this, by sharing your stories with us and by joining the conversation, we're actually showing everyone from coast to coast to coast all the different things that we are doing as a church and how we're creating an impact. Now, the third part that we'd like to highlight is the checklist. Now, this is my very favorite part of the toolkit. Just so because that in case that you haven't read the toolkit or you don't have time to read the toolkit, but I promise you, this is an easy read. The entire toolkit is something that you can read in 5 minutes or even less. But by pointing to you the checklist page, which is found near the end of the toolkit guide, it actually shows you the practical planning piece or pieces rather on how you're going to go through about your activity or even event. So this lists everything from signing up to joining one of our information sessions, such as this one, and you only need to attend once, and also to connecting with us, and also the evaluation part, which is also important and in which more information will be shared later on. So in everything, just to let you know that this checklist will be an important practical guide for you to check off all the boxes to see that if you have everything covered, it's just like covering all your bases. So in its entirety, the toolkit helps us move from inspiration to connection and to action, so that on May 31, we can serve our communities in meaningful and coordinated ways across the church. So we just want to encourage you to download this toolkit, print it out, or share it digitally with the members of your planning team. And I believe that this is very handy if you have it with you, so that you can be reassured whether you are already covering everything. And please stay connected with us, as what my colleague Carter had already mentioned. He had already shown you our webpage for the ELCIC Day of Action. So please stay connected with us, and please watch out for any updates by checking on our website from time to time. Now, I would like to turn you over to my colleague Catherine, who will be talking more about the ELCIC Day of Action t-shirts.
Just going to get you to unmute.
There we are. Hi, my name is Catherine Kravici. I'm the graphic designer here at the National Office in the comms team, and I am just going to talk very quickly about t-shirts for the Day of Action. The first thing is to be completely clear is it is absolutely not mandatory that you get t-shirts made. So you can talk about that with your planning group and decide whether or not that's something that you want to pursue. There are lots of ways that the t-shirt can help you as a group try kind of make yourself more visible in the community when you're doing your active service. It helps you be cohesive as a group, and it's kind of fun to think that people all across Canada are wearing the same t-shirt on the same day. You can also use it for other church activities after the Day of Action as well. So what we've done in the toolkit is there's links in there for different ways that you can have your t-shirt produced. If you look on the t-shirt page, there's going to be an online web store that is not quite posted yet. So if you check back in a couple of days, the link should be on this page for the online web store. They will have everything you need to get your shirts made. It's a Canadian company. They'll send it to you in email, or not email, mail, once your shirts are ready, and you can have the conversation with them about how many, pricing, all that sort of thing. The other way is if you want to support a local company in your area, you can have it made locally as well. If you look on the t-shirt page, there's going to be a link for a PDF that has all the instructions that you would need to have your shirts made. And what you can do is just print that out and take it to your local t-shirt store, and they will be able to see exactly how we'd like it placed. There's option A and option B. So there's different price points, and that's something else that you can talk about with your t-shirt provider. So option A is front and back, and I'll just spin around and you can see the back. There's the back. And option B is just to have the logo on the front, and prices would be different between 2 imprints or 1. If your t-shirt company has any kind of questions, or if you have any kind of questions about getting these printed or anything to do with them, please, my email and phone number are on the toolkit page. So just give me a call or shoot me an email, and we can help you with any questions you might have about the shirts. The one thing that we would ask just in general is that you stick to the layout and placement of the logo like we have shown on here, just so we can stay consistent and we respect the integrity of the logo. But if you have any other questions about anything like that, like I said, please let me know, and we can help you out. Throw it back to Trina.
Thanks, Carter, Desiree, Catherine. So those are some of the resources that have been prepared for the ELCIC Day of Action. There's a few more things that are going to be coming. Like Catherine said, the web store link should be active in the next day or so, just sorting out a few last things with that. There will be a sermon that will be prepared for May 31st that you can use as part of your worship service. And that will be our National Bishop Larry Kokendorfer, who will be doing the sermon for that day. And it'll be a video that you can share. during your worship service, and we'll also have prayers to use along with your worship service as well. So those will be uploaded to the website in the next few weeks. And I would encourage you just to keep checking back on the website as we add more resources and update the toolkit. All of that will be available on the website that Carter shared with you. So we hope that these resources make the ELCIC Day of Action kind of easy and accessible and don't add more work to your plate. We want you to know that you're not on your own in this. And so if there's something that we've missed or something that you feel would be really valuable to your planning, please do get in touch with us. This is the first time that we're doing this, so this is new to all of us, and we're very much open to hearing your feedback and suggestions and ideas, and we just want to hear about how you're engaging in this as well. So, and you don't need to have everything figured out right away. I would just encourage you to start a conversation in your congregations about this. Mark off that May 31st date and then start thinking about how you and your congregation can get involved in the Day of Action. Are there questions that you might have about May 31st event? I'd encourage you to, it's a number of people here if you just want to raise your hand or unmute. And I see one question in the chat about curious if a church organization might be able to use their logo on the t-shirts. I think that's where working with a local provider is certainly an option. When you're using the ELCIC logo, we would encourage you to use the specs that have been included in the one-page handout. But certainly if you'd like to personalize it a little bit and feel that your logo, we know that we've had a request to put Synod logos on there as well. Just know that when you're adding extra elements, they're called imprints. When you're adding extra imprints to a t-shirt, there's often a little bit of an extra cost involved in that. So you may just want to connect with a local provider ahead of time and see what that might look like. The online web store is with a company out of Toronto called T-Shirt Elephant. And we just really wanted to make that option available for particularly smaller groups that want to order t-shirts. Sometimes local providers might have a minimum quantity, like 25 t-shirts or something like that. You can order one t-shirt from the online web store that will have. It is a set design. There's the two options that Catherine took you through, but you can order one or 100 t-shirts if you want from that company, and they'll just be shipped directly to you. There's about a 2-week lead time to order those. So, other questions? Or has anybody thought of what they're going to do for the ELCIC Day of Action?
We were going to do a community cleanup and hopefully, pick up 40 pounds of, stuff that wasn't meant to be on the ground and help take care of creation and invite other groups to help with us. And the question I had was other question was about the t-shirt color. Do you recommend the t-shirt color that you are all wearing right now so that the logo stands out?
Yes, we do. It does kind of make the ELCIC branding stand out a little bit more. If there's something else that you need to work with, I would encourage you to be in touch with Catherine, and she can tell you a little bit more about kind of our branding standards around that. But the white just seems the easiest. I know that it can get a little bit dirty, but
So it is white. I can't really tell if it's beige or white.
These are white, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you, Pastor Heather, for committing to do an ELCIC Day of Action. You're one of the first to be on our interactive map, so we appreciate that.
Okay. And definitely we'll use the toolkit. We have our council meeting, another one this Sunday, so we'll be able to finalize things and hopefully send things in after that.
That's
right
awesome.
after.
Amazing. What about others?
Sure. We have our council meeting is tonight, but we've already had some plans regarding this. We'll be finalizing some of those plans tonight, but the 31st of May is also our congregational picnic and family service. And so we live in a small community here. There are about 300 people in the community. And so we will be extending invitations to all of the households in the community to come and join us for our picnic on the lawn, and we'll probably spread it out to the school that just is across the street from the church. So that's our preliminary thoughts right now.
That sounds wonderful. Yeah, what a great way to participate. Thank you.
Yeah, our council meeting is tonight as well. So we just had a teaser at the last council meeting in March. So tonight's when they're gonna work on it. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a community cleanup because Thunder Bay actually has a citywide community cleanup during May. That was actually started by one of our confirmation students years ago. And where we're situated on the creek and the busy corner, we always have garbage if the snow ever melts. But we can get Echo Superior, which is our nonprofit in the city, involved with us. So I think that's what they're gonna probably do. Although if I just put it out there, they could come up with anything, and as long as they form the committee, that's great. I'm all for it. We do have, that's actually at 31st, we're laughing because that's the only day we have free for about 4 Sundays in a row. And so it's just working perfect.
Well, that's wonderful. That's exactly why we planned it that way, Matthew. So that's great. No, that's wonderful to hear. And we will cross our fingers that the snow has melted in Thunder Bay for May 31st. And yeah, if there's anything more that might be helpful to encourage others in your congregation to kind of pick this up and run with it more than the toolkit or something like that. I see Vita has put in the chat that is there a poster to promote the day? And we can work on that and we can get you. Are you thinking, Vita, something that you would put up like in the narthex, or tell us what you're looking for? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, I think both. We have just a post and in our building for people to see, and also on our website. It's always good to have a visual, like an image with where we post events or news. So it's not just text-based, not just sort of links, but a visual. So if there is a poster, that would be great.
And would you need some space in there to kind of customize it so that you could share what your congregation's doing as the announcement, or kind of information would you need in there?
Well, I guess you've got on the slides, you have like the day of action, like a slide, but yeah, with a date and something that would with the logo, the logo. And yeah, I didn't think about customizing, but yeah, if there was a sort of space available, like a line as to what an individual congregation is doing, that would be a bonus. Yeah.
Sounds great. The whole communications team is here, so we've heard that and we'll take that away and have some discussions on it. And that's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I second the idea about putting it on the website too. So having a small like square poster type, something that we can put on there as a block, an image block on our website would be wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you, Pastor Emily. Lori, you were saying your mic doesn't work. And so you'll share in the chat. We are a ministry in Saskatoon that does care to both seniors and our group homes. You're planning a party in the park for the residents to engage the community, and you'll invite your senior housing that you have next door to the park to join you. Well, that's great. It's wonderful. We'll wish for great weather for May 31st for you as well. Any other congregations have some ideas on what you're thinking of doing for May 31st?
I'm from Zion, Phillipsburg, and we are planning a barbecue and an open house. Our issue is that there's a large community function that weekend, and so we were leaning towards having it on a different day. But just sort of listening to this, I'm seeing the value though in trying to do it on May 31st. So that's what I'm going to take back to our committee and see if we can, do something so that we can keep it on that date, because I think that's important.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Susan. I mean, obviously, there are likely, situations where a congregation or community might look to another day. I know in another information session, there was a congregation, Good Shepherd in Coquitlam, was thinking they had a garage sale that they'd already planned for another day, and that's kind of part of a community function that they were looking at. And certainly that works. We do want to encourage people to try to think about something that they can do for Sunday, May 31st, if at all possible. There's just something really special about that collective action of coming together and thinking about our fellow Lutherans all across the country who are doing the same thing on the same day and around the same time together. So as they were thinking about that through the information session, they thought of another activity that they could do on the 31st that maybe might not have been as big as the garage sale. They're still going to have the garage sale the weekend before, but then they can also participate together with our other congregations across the country on May 31st. So anyone else have any ideas of what they're doing for May 31st or any questions that have come to mind as we've been chatting?
I just have a question about how long it might take to actually, once you order t-shirts, for them to come, and what the typical cost is with the company that you're using.
So that's a great question, because there is some planning that needs to be done around that. This particular company out of Toronto says that they need 2 weeks for shipping. So 2 weeks for planning to when you order it, and you can order it all online. You select your quantity, select your sizes, and pay for it all online, just like any other ordering that you might do online. I was trying to think of an example, and all I can think of is Sephora, but I'm sure there's a lot of other better examples than that. There are local companies. I'm not sure how many local t-shirt companies you have where you are, Pastor Heather, but I know here in Winnipeg, there are companies that can do t-shirts faster than that. If you need it, there's a T-shirt Express here that can do t-shirts in a day kind of thing. The t-shirts that we're looking at through T-shirt Elephant, the two-sided ones are $25. So we're just working on the price for the other option B, which is just an imprint on the front. And my hope is that it's less than that. I do believe that they can be less than that. So
Thank you.
thank you. It's a good question. Any other questions? And we don't want to keep you longer than we need to. We really appreciate you taking the time on your Tuesday afternoon to join us and hear a little bit more about the ELCIC Day of Action and to hear about how you're thinking about getting involved. Again, if you have questions, please reach out to us. Our email addresses and phone numbers are throughout all the materials. And just thank you for being a part of the ELCIC Day of Action. We are really, really looking forward to seeing how communities across the church come together to live out our call to service in God's name and to living out God's grace and unconditional love in so many different and meaningful ways. So thank you.